Hi, everybody, and welcome in to Morning in the Valley. It is Wednesday, July the 30th, as we are taking the show on the road. Another road game today, as we are in the wonderfully attired, this wonderful green couch in the basement of my childhood home in Northwest Ohio. So we are going old school here for the Bidwell family. But glad you are with us today, the head coach of the Bradley Braves. Brian Wardle will join us here in just a few minutes. So hope the stream is okay today. Again, a little bit outside of our normal studio setting, if you will, in my home office, but here in the old home office once upon a time. So glad you're with us today. Lots to get to today. Again, Coach Wardle will be with us as well. Tanya Warren, Northern Iowa head coach, will be with us on Friday morning here on Morning in the Valley. If you haven't done so already, please head on over to YouTube and search us out. Just search Morning in the Valley, subscribe to the show, help us continue to grow this little thing as we are now rolling along 96 days until the start of the college basketball season. And that is where we are going to start today with the start of the college basketball season on November the 3rd on Monday, as our friends at the Field of 68 have announced not only a Field of 68 opening day showcase that they had last year with 3 games, which included Southern Illinois taking on the College of Charleston. This year, it is a Field of 68 opening day marathon, as we have 6 games in 2 locations that will feature 3 different Missouri Valley Conference schools. The Bradley Braves, the Murray State Racers, and the Drake Bulldogs will all take part in this event. Again, 2 locations. We got Rock Hill, South Carolina, and then Sioux Falls, South Dakota, which is where both Murray State and Drake will be playing. Bradley will take part in the event over in Rock Hill against St. Bonaventure. And as we go through the 3 games, that is game number 1. Again, the Braves taking on the Bonnies. It'll be a 10 a.m. Central Time start over there in Rock Hill. The event starts at 7 a.m. Queens will take on Winthrop in a matchup of 2 regional rivals 30 miles down the road. That'll be a raucous scene there at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Breakfast ball there, if you will, on the opening day of the season. In terms of Bradley, St. Bonaventure, these are all good mid-major matchups and games that and I think as much as anything for this entire event, it is the spectacle, it is the eyes that will be shining on it, that will get an opportunity to see all of our Valley teams play. And when you look at St. Bonaventure, 22-12 last year, lost in the opening round of the NIT, 123 in the KenPom last year. This year, 136 in the Torvik projections, but a right now 6th, 7th place type team in the Atlantic 10. But it's a good opening season matchup for the Braves, for them to be able to go over to Rock Hill and play that one early. 10 a.m. opening Monday. Should be the only game in the country going on at that time. So a lot of eyeballs on the Braves. Once we go over to South Dakota, Murray State at 12:30. They will be taking on the Mavericks of Omaha, a homecoming of sorts for Murray State head coach Ryan Miller, who was born in Mitchell, South Dakota, 70 miles up the road from Sioux Falls. Omaha was an NCAA tournament team last year. They were a 15 seed, lost to St. John's, won the Summit League, won 22 games, 165 in the KenPom last year, 149 in the Bart Torvik projections this year. But again, a nice spotlight game for the Racers to open things up. And then the Drake Bulldogs. We speak of homecomings. Eric Henderson, his first game as the head coach of the Drake Bulldogs, spent 9 years at South Dakota State in Brookings, which is just 50 minutes up the road from Sioux Falls. He'll get his first crack against Northern Arizona out of the Big Sky. Won 18-16 last year. From a metric standpoint, probably the weakest of the 3 opponents. 250 in the KenPom last year, 221 in the Bart Torvik projections. But this is as much as anything. Again, I just think about spotlighting these teams and giving them an opportunity to get out on a national stage. Games will all be streamed on X. They'll all be streamed on YouTube. All 6, and it's from, again, starting at 7 in the morning Central Time all the way through the night, as the guys at the Field of 68. 3 games last year, 6 games this year, already teasing more for next season. as well. But a great event to be a part of and really kick off the season here for the Braves, the Racers, and the Bulldogs of Drake. All right, we've got other scheduling news to get to this morning. Indiana State has released their non-conference schedule in its totality. And looking at what they have there, Coach Mark Mitchell's bunch, this schedule does not jump off the page, I think, in terms of star power. And I am 100% okay with that for Coach Mitchell. This is a team that went 4-28 last year. And it is basically the roster was completely, everybody left. And it's completely starting over. And this is you've got to get some confidence built, and you've got to build some positive momentum going in to conference play. And so for Indiana State, they open up on the road at IU Indy. Their home opener is against Eastern Illinois. I guess the marquee games, if you want, they have a quad 2 game at Western Kentucky. They will have a quad 2 game at Butler. Both of those teams, Western Kentucky was 107 in the net last year. Butler was 128. The rest of the games are all quad 4s. They have 2 non-D1s. Probably the most impactful part of their schedule from a brand standpoint will be who they face. So right before Christmas, they're going to be in the Cherokee Invitational over in Western Carolina. It's part of a 4-team bracketed event. You have Ole Miss, Michigan State, Old Dominion, and Indiana State. Look, last year, Ole Miss was 11 in the net. Michigan State was 21. Old Dominion 163. Indiana State, obviously, again, 284. So Indiana State, they haven't announced the brackets yet, but Indiana State will play Ole Miss or Michigan State in that opening game, and then play the loser of the other, presumably. But we're trying not to get ahead of our skis. They will play the other 2 teams in game 2 if they do not win that first game against either Ole Miss or Michigan State. But from a schedule confidence standpoint, to open up quad 4, quad 4, quad 2, quad 4, quad 4, 2 non-D1s, quad 4, it's there for Coach Mitchell in year 2 to be able to get this thing spinning forward and to get some positive momentum for this team built as they go into year 2 of his regime there in Terre Haute. And hopefully the Sycamores, again, can get set up for a little bit more success once they get into Missouri Valley Conference play. All right, let's move on to Bryant's schedule, as Bryant has released their schedule, but from a non-conference standpoint. But on it are the Beacons of Valparaiso, as Valpo will host Bryant coming up on November the 16th. Bryant, another NCAA tournament team from a season ago, 23-12. They were a 15 seed, finished 149 in the Ken Palm this year. Torvik projections have them at 234, but it's a team that has had success, a program that has had success. And for a home game early in the year, certainly give Roger Powell's bunch hopefully an opportunity to get a nice road win 2 weeks into the season. An old friend alert from Valpo, and this is a gentleman coming back to Valpo that had some success there a decade or so ago. Levante Doherty, who was played his final 2 years of his college basketball at Valpo and was really, really good. He was the 6th man of the year in the Horizon League in 2013. He was a first-team All-Horizon League player in 2014. He is returning to Valpo as the recruiting and player development coach for Roger Powell. Spent 8 years playing in Europe, so plenty of experience professionally that he can impart to his guys. And when you go back, Roger Powell, part of Bryce Drew's staff at Valparaiso more than a decade ago, Levante Doherty was the first recruit for Roger Powell as part of Bryce Drew's staff at Valpo. So what is old is new again, and coming full circle here is awesome. And I could not be more pro bringing former players back into the staff and back into the fold, especially when they've been there during successful times. They can help you build the culture, and they want to get into coaching. And obviously a relationship between Doherty and Powell, to have them together, I think is awesome. And to be able to get them back together as Coach Powell goes in here and trying to get this thing rolling again, I think it's pretty neat to be able to bring him into back to Valparaiso. All right, it is commitment season, and what is going on in Nashville, Tennessee is pretty remarkable. As Jake Feldhaus from Richmond, Kentucky, committed. That's actually not. We got a little ahead of our skis there. Where did Mister? Oh, I guess I didn't put that little graphic in. Well, we'll let that go. Jake Feldhaus from Richmond, Kentucky. He has committed to Belmont, and just a unbelievable run on the recruiting trail here with what Casey Alexander has done, as he has in the last week gotten 3 2026 commitments. And these are all kids that he offered in the last month. Charlie Gershmel, he offered June 24th, committed July 20th. Jalen Alexander offered June 23rd, committed July 25th. And then here you have Jake Feldhaus, who was offered on June 23rd, and he committed just yesterday. 6'7" wing, a second team All-State kid out of Kentucky, and another 6'7" just size and a shooter that's going to be able to help Coach Alexander. But it's interesting just to see the recruiting philosophies, and sometimes it's like, well, maybe we'll get a freshman, maybe two. We're going to try to maybe hit the portal when we get to the spring, but the fact that Coach Alexander has boom, got 3 back-to-back 2026 guys, but also been able to get them in very limited amount of time. Just really hit him hard here the last 4 or 5 weeks, and has been able to sell him enough to be able to sell the 3 of those guys to be able to bring those in to Nashville. Ty Lauer from Pinckneyville, Illinois. He has committed to Southern Illinois. Just up the road from Carbondale is Pinckneyville. And Scott Nagy getting his, I don't know if this is the first commitment for the 2026 class, but we don't want to let the facts get in the way of a good story here on Morning in the Valley. But a 6'8" forward, a coach's son there at Pinckneyville. And I'm also a big fan of being able to recruit local and keep those kids, build that wall, in that 90-minute radius around your campus. And certainly Scott Nagy being able to get a very talented big man to come down the road from Pinckneyville into Carbondale is a pretty good deal there. So congratulations to Ty Lauer. All right, I believe our guest of honor is here today, as he is in the waiting room and he is ready to roll. He is getting ready for season number 11 as the head coach of the Bradley Braves, and it is time to welcome in head coach Brian Wardle. Coach, good morning to you.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. I'm sitting in my parents' basement today, so I hope you appreciate the flowered pillows.
Hey, I like it. I like it.
Hey, there's certain parts of this house that it feels like, as much as they've done upstairs, right, the 90s kind of just get suppressed down into the basement, and that's where we are today.
Those are the good old days. You know that, Jeff, the 90s.
100%. Well, the breaking news yesterday, Field of 68, the opening day marathon, and the Bradley Braves, part of it, getting St. Bonaventure. I saw some stuff going around with you saying this was an event that excited you when you saw it a year ago. What was it that appealed to you so much to be a part of this?
Well, I mean, you're in the grind of practice. You start practice so early now with these guys. I try to hold off as long as I can. I don't like starting practice like the first day you can, because I just think it gets to be too much, especially after 8 weeks in the summer. And our fall is like a training camp too. Our fall's pretty tough. So I remember sitting in my office. We haven't played a game yet, but our guys are ready to play. They're tired of practicing by that point. They're tired of working out. They want to play someone else. And I remember watching it last year, opening day, and I was watching St. Louis play, I think in South Dakota, Josh's team. And I was like, man, this would be fun. Our guys would be ready to play on this Monday. Like, by that point, your team is like end of October, they're ready to go. And so I said, if we can get in this opening day event and play a really good team, a top 100 team on a neutral floor, this would be a really good game for us. And I'll have my guys' attention. And I think when you're playing a really good team to start the year off, you got their attention. And so it was a no-brainer for us. I'm happy that Jeff and Rob, invited us, and we were able to get in and play a good team in St. Bonaventure. I got a lot of respect for Coach and his program there.
Back in the day, and it feels like the eras of basketball have sped up a lot here as of late in the last couple of years, certainly in the last decade. But it used to be important to be on TV. That was always so important for coaches. And now in this ESPN Plus era, every game is at least streamed. I guess the first part of that is being on TV still important as a head coach from a recruiting standpoint or just a brand standpoint. But an event like this, it's not ESPN Plus. It's the opening day. It has a different kind of spotlight. It's being streamed all over the place. Is there a little extra cachet to something like this?
Yeah, I think you're on different streams for this tournament, which I
Yeah,
love. I think if you talk to young people, YouTube is more watched than TV now in cable. But I do feel there is still something that to get on CBS Sports, CBS, ESPN, ESPN2, the nationally televised games. I still think there is a pop to that, and it is important. But I love what the Field of 68 is doing. It's tapping into a couple different avenues of networking and for our fans and for our following, which is a big following throughout the nation at Bradley. I think they're going to really enjoy watching that game early morning at work. I remember I had it up on work when I'm watching film and getting practice plans done. I was watching games, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun for people to do that Monday morning.
Last week, you got a new contract extension. Congratulations. I hope you treated yourself with a supersized extra value meal after the ink was dry. 10 years. What has been the part of your tenure there in Peoria that you are most proud of?
Well, just the grind of consistency. I think it's hard to be consistent. It's hard to take over a program that was struggling at the time, suffer, go through adversity for a couple of years. I mean, you know, I hate looking at my overall record because if you take out my first 2 years, it's not bad. My first 2 years in COVID year, which was difficult and odd in Illinois because every state was different. I like a lot of the years that we've had here, the consistency of high level play, of competitiveness. I said when I took over Bradley 10 years ago, I want the championship to run through Peoria, that teams know they have to come into Peoria and win if they're going to even have a chance at the league. I think our program is there. It's been there. And that's what we want to continue to build on is the consistency. It's hard to maintain and sustain. And we've been able to do that even through the NIL and the portal. And that speaks volumes to our administration. Dr. Reynolds, Chris Reynolds, and I have been together for 10 years. That's a big reason why I love staying here at Bradley and being in Peoria. My wife and family love it here in Peoria. We love the city. We love the people. But being able to sustain that success with the support from the community during the NIL and portal area is really hard to do for mid-majors, and we've been able to do that. So that's exciting. Now, there's still more boxes to check. I think that's what motivates me. When I signed the contract, it gets announced, but it happened a while ago. I actually got more motivated in a way because there are things I want to do for the city of Peoria that we haven't done yet. Let's get to the tournament, win games, and bring that buzz back. Obviously, basketball has changed over the last 10 years. Over the last 15, 20 years, it's changed dramatically. But I still feel our program can do that, and we can get to another height and keep going upward.
Not to pick scabs about those first couple of years, but 5-27, 13-20, and then year 3, bang, you get to 20 wins. But in those first 2 years, was there any doubt, for lack of a better word, or were you knowing in your heart of hearts the process is working and we're getting there? The results just haven't quite gotten to what we want yet.
Yeah, I mean, you have moments of doubt. There's no doubt about that. There's nights where you go home and be like, are we doing the right things? Are we keeping this simple? Are we executing our goals? And our goals were very simple. I'm a process-driven coach, a journey coach. I don't look forward too far ahead. I try to embrace the one day at a time and the week at a time and month at a time process. And I thought we did that very well the first couple of years. So we wanted to improve in certain areas, and it was be the most together team. You're developing your culture those years, even though you're losing games and the results aren't there. You're developing the work habits, the unselfishness in the locker room, the sacrifice they're going to have to make to be really good. You're recruiting the right character guys, the guys that have a chip on their shoulder but want to be coached and want to get in the gym. And you're doing all that while suffering some losses. So it's hard for the fans to understand that. You even have doubt sometimes, but I just kept waking up every morning going, all right, what do we have to accomplish today to get a little bit better and keep getting our guys motivated and energized to compete at a high level? And we were able to do that. And then year 3, we broke through. And then year 4, we made another jump. Year 5, we made another jump. Then COVID hit.
Yeah.
But it was a great process, I think, that a lot of people don't like to go through anymore. They want to win right away. And with the portal and NIL, they think they can, but there's still, and you can nowadays. It's way different now than it was 10 years ago, but you still have to establish a culture and get your players to buy into the unselfishness and the sacrifice that it takes to win as a unit and as a team. And that's how we have to win at our level.
When new contracts are signed, oftentimes there's, I don't know, for lack of a better phrase, perks thrown in there. Was there any line item at any point in that contract that allowed for updates to maybe just look, these are national treasures. I'm more looking at, in terms of, is there a glass case, track lighting, is it an NIL thing? You can charge admission for people to come, not put them on, but maybe just look at them from afar. This is tremendous stuff.
The the ones that won us Arch Madness in 19 and 20, I like to keep around, but we unfortunately have lost our last 2 Sundays. We've been in a lot of Sunday championship games. People don't know this, but we have a Sunday standard, it's called now in this program, a Sunday standard. And that's where we want to be. But if those shoes don't make it to victory platform on Sunday, they get thrown out quickly. But it started with my daughters. I got 2 daughters. One's playing at Bradley now. She's a sophomore, and Emmy, who's 16. And my daughters and my son thought it would be funny if I wore red shoes in Arch Madness, and it just kind of has taken off. And we've won a lot of games in Arch Madness, and we get to Sunday. We've gotten to Sunday quite a bit. We always get to Saturday, and we want to keep that standard alive because it's hard to do. There's a lot of programs in the Valley that haven't done it or haven't consistently at all done it. So that's the consistency I'm talking about, Jeff, that I'm very proud of. Is can we sustain that and take it to another level and break through these coming seasons?
You mentioned the Sunday disappointments. 23, you lose to Drake in the finals. 24, you lose to Drake in the semis. 25, you lose to Drake in the finals. When you sort of self-audit, how much of a challenge is it when it's the same roadblock for you 3 years in a row that you have to go, okay, this isn't a Drake problem that we're trying to overcome, or maybe it is, but like this is we need to be better at A, B, and C to be able to finally get over the hump when it's the same suckers in front of you 3 years in a row that knock you out in St. Louis.
Yeah, I mean, give Drake credit that different teams, different personnels, but very good teams. I mean, we're losing. I mean, we're the best 2 teams in the league those years, and we did not play well in those games. And in 19 and 20, when we won it, we're 2-2 on Sundays overall. In 19 and 20, when we won it, the Stars played at a very high level. Elijah Childs, D'Lo, Darryl Brown, those guys really played well in those championship games and all through the weekend. My players did play well. Obviously, to get to Sunday, you got to play well, but we just weren't able to finish it. We kind of ran out of gas, I would say, in those games. So defense and rebounding wins it. It wins in Arch Madness. We were more of an offensive-minded team probably the last few years. So I got to get back to where we know we can fall back on that defense and rebounding to win us that Sunday game, because it's a grinded-out game usually. It's a fatigue game. Guys are tired, played a lot of minutes, a lot of adrenaline, a lot of emotion, and you got to be able to fall back on that defense and rebounding to create extra possessions on offense too, offensive rebounding, but also just when you go through those droughts offensively, which you're going to have, everybody does every March, you got to be able to sustain those droughts and be able to pull those wins off. And that's what we were able to do in 19 to 20. So we got to get back to that. But it's hard to get to Sunday. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of programs just trying to get to Saturday. We're doing it. So we're knocking on the door. We're at the doorstep. We're constantly pounding on the door. Sooner or later, we're going to break through. And that's what that analogy is always there for our program. And once we do, we got to get to that tournament and win games. And I thought in 20, we were ready to win games and COVID hit. But it's time now where we hopefully can get back there.
In this era, turnover is always such a thing coaches have to deal with. And you were able to keep some guys, but guys always leave. But you lost a heck of a chunk. Your 4 top scorers, and Duke Dean, Darius Hannah, Zeke Montgomery, Christian Davis, 48 points a game. When that much of a foundation, and these guys weren't drive-by-night guys. They were there with you for a while. When you lose that much of a chunk of your foundation, is it is there a tangible moment of reset for you guys as a program, or is it more of, look, these guys have laid the foundation, next guy up, we got to keep rolling?
Yeah, there is. You got to drive the culture every offseason nowadays, and make sure your staff and your players understand what it takes to win. Winning is hard. Winning consistently is extremely hard. And I have a whole new staff too. I lost
Right.
a lot of my coaches because of the success we've had. My coaches have all moved up in job titles or in salary, and moved up in leagues and in conferences. So I'm very proud of them and happy for them. But it was I had to go in the coaches portal and the players portal this offseason and
Yeah.
really get back to the basics. And so it's kind of, Jeff, honestly, it's re-energized me a little bit. Let's get back to what I did year 1 and 2 a little bit, and 3, and really work on and simplify and just get back to the basics of what wins and what has helped our program grow and be consistent. And so it's kind of re-energized me. I feel, even though I'm in year 11, it kind of feels like I'm going back to my beginning years a little bit, with having a whole new roster and a new staff, teaching everything all over again. So it's been fun for me, to be honest. And we have 9 new guys. I lost 3 all MVC players. I lost 4 starters. I lost 9 seniors that all graduated and are either playing pro ball or have moved on into a business career. So very proud of that group, but it's a lot. It's a lot. So I don't know. Some of the predictions have us pretty high in the league. I don't know about that right now. If you came and watched us work out, we're not quite there. But I do like the players we brought in, the talent we have in the locker room. It's young. We're very young. But we have some very talented players. And I think if we can blend and put the work in, we'll get better as the year goes on.
You lose 2 associate head coaches, Mike Bargan going to Indiana, Jimmy Foster going to Colorado State. When you have guys that have been with you and have that title and that much responsibility in the program, and now they're out, and you bring 4 guys in, and one coach have been with you prior, but in terms of how much coaching the coaches is there for you in trying to get everybody back up to speed with doing things the way you want things done?
There's a lot, and I'm not, I would say one of my weaknesses is patience. As I've gotten older, Jeff, my patience has gotten a lot better, but I have patience with the deadline though. And so the teaching, having patience in the details, I'm a stickler for details. And I think my new staff is picking up that quickly. Mike and Jimmy were great with me. They're brothers for life. They've been poached in years before, so this wasn't a shock to me, but they said no to some job opportunities because they believed in what we were doing here, believed in Peoria and Bradley, and they had ownership in our program. So they'll obviously be missed, but they're going to do a great job at Indiana and Colorado State, no doubt about it. But these new coaches, I'm super excited about. They got a lot of energy. They got some fresh new ideas. They really wanted to come to Bradley to say, how have you won consistently? What does it take to win consistently? And so I think they're learning some things. They're bringing great value to me. I'm learning some things too from them. So it's been, like I said, re-energizing and exciting to me.
You have had success with small guards. Duke Dean, generous maybe at 5'8", one of the great players in the last handful of years. And now Jaquan Johnson, sort of the heir apparent, taking over, just a wrecking ball of a dude that listed 5'7" or 5'11" rather. Again, maybe a smidge generous, but he makes up for it because he looks like he can bench press a house.
A strong 5'10".
All right, we'll give him a strong 5'10". When in the recruiting process, some coaches might be like, "Look, I don't want small guards. I need kids that are 6 foot and higher." What was it about Jaquan that first grabbed your attention, and then maybe secondly, what has proven you right about him in the year you've had him?
Well, first, I understand, a lot of head coaches want height at the point guard position. And I get that maybe at the high major level, you'll need that. I understand that. But at our level, I wouldn't be at Bradley if it wasn't for my small point guards at Green Bay. It starts, off with Ramon Fletcher, who was 5'8". Then I had Kiefer Sykes, who was 5'11", Carrington Love. Then we had Darryl Brown Jr. here. Then we had Duke Dean. I mean, we've had some great point guards that have a lot of heart, that are competitive, that lead, and are explosive. And so I think if you're explosive and can make winning plays, 5'10" to 6'1" doesn't really matter to me. You're going to make up for it. And Kwani makes up for that. Kwani is a 5'10", but plays 6'3". You know, he's that big and strong. He's physical. He can get to the paint on anyone. So, like, when I watched him in AU, it was no matter who he played against, who his teammates, he was a paint touch creator, playmaker that always got to the free throw line and got to the paint. And he reminded me of Kiefer Sykes that I had at Green Bay, because Kiefer could get to the paint on anyone and he got to the foul line a lot. That translates to college, getting to the free throw line. And so he was able to do that as a freshman for us, get to the paint, get to the foul line. You have to foul him because he's so explosive around the rim and strong. And so I think his game is just going to keep evolving. His three-point shooting has been obviously a big emphasis for us, has improved dramatically. Conditioning is better. I'm really excited for him to see him make a jump from freshman to sophomore year. And then I got another one in Montana Wheeler, who's a freshman for us, who's a 5'10" jet. Really talented player too as a freshman. So my point guards are really young. I got some young guards, but they are very talented, and I think they're going to be really fun to watch them grow and improve as the year goes on.
It is the time of year for you get your 8 hours a week with the guys. It's a lot of off the court team building, team bonding type stuff. Like I've seen axe throwing, I've seen bowling. I have not seen beach volleyball with a medicine ball. Who was the sick mind that thought this was? The kids are probably like, "Hey, let's go play some beach volleyball," and then things got real fast.
You know, Eddie Pappas, our strength coach, does a great job, and ever since he took over, and we've worked together for years now. That has been a staple of our summer workouts is the med ball volleyball, and they love it. It's funny, Jeff, how competitive they get in it. And our freshmen always think they're going to be really good, and they don't realize how exhausting it is. It's tiring, and it takes a lot of strength. You got to use your legs, your butt. You got to stay low. You got to catch balls when you're sweating and tired. It's a great workout. It's not only strength, but it's cardio too. So our guys really enjoy competing in it. We do a lot of fun things to build team chemistry throughout the summer and fall. I mean, whether it's fishing, paintball, med ball, I think we're going to go shoot some guns, and they're going to teach how to, go to a rifle range and learn how to do that. So I try to really have team building, team bonding exercises throughout the summer and fall. We have a lot of guest speakers come in and talk to our guys throughout the fall, educate them on NIL money, how to manage money, or just life experiences and life skills that they're going to need. So we do a lot of things in this program. That's part of our culture. And I think that's what our new coaches have enjoyed is the things that we do to bring everyone together in the off season.
I could not help but notice in that video that was put out by your athletic department that there were no coaches involved in the med ball volleyball.
No, my days are retired. Me and Brian Jones, we're too old. I always tell them, once you get over 45, you're not jumping out there with these young guys anymore. But I do have some young guys on staff that saw it for the first time and said maybe next year they want to jump in.
Maybe next year. There's always next year. We'll get to that. My last question for you. I know there's always a lot of interdepartment support of all the other sports, but this year, a young lady by the name of Maya Wardle across the hall, your daughter coming home to play for Coach Pop and the Braves. How nice is it to have your daughter back within arm's reach?
Oh, it's great. I'm obviously I love all my kids. Maya and I, as the oldest, we've always been very close, and so for her to want to come back home and play was exciting for my wife and I, Alicia. So we're obviously very excited. She brings a lot of energy, a lot of vocal leadership. She's a good girl, and I think she's going to hopefully help Coach Pop in the team. And she's done a good job. Coach Pop has built the program up. She's, you got to go through adversity to really find out, how strong your program's going to be, how strong your culture is. And she's done that. Like most coaches taking over and building a program, you go through adversity. And I think that's really who you can tell, who you can depend on, and who you believe in. So I'm excited for Maya to jump in with this team she has coming back and see where the program can go. And it's exciting times, Jeff, honestly, for the whole department. I think we got some coaches that have been building programs. We've got some new coaches. And I think you're going to see a lot of Bradley athletic programs take a good jump this year. And hopefully we can make a lot of noise in the Valley.
How involved was Dad on Maya's official visit to Bradley?
It's funny. I train my kids when they ask. When they want to get in the gym, I work them out. I never say no. I'd stay out of their recruitment, though. I mean, Maya's her
Yeah.
own woman. If you meet Maya,
Yeah.
you'll know what I'm talking about. She's running her own show, and I was never involved much in her recruiting.
Yeah.
You know, I trusted her and my wife. I think when you're a head coach too, you try to stay out of that. You don't want to.
Sure.
You have enough to worry about with your own program,
Yeah.
and you trust your family and what you've done to raise your kid to make good decisions, and she has. I'm excited for her, and I'm excited for the whole team, and being able to watch her a little bit more. I didn't get a chance to see her a whole lot last year, so this will be fun to see her live.
Brian Wardle, head coach of the Bradley Braves. Thank you so much for the time today. Enjoy the fleeting moments of summer before it's go time for real, and hopefully we can talk soon.
I will, Jeff. I appreciate your time. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thanks, Coach. All right. There is Coach Brian Wardle. And telling you, I think it's a great NIL opportunity. Those red shoes, yeah, they've been out, and yeah, maybe they haven't been as successful as they wanted in St. Louis, but you just line them up like Disney World. Put them under the glass case, and maybe a little Brian Wardle cardboard cutout on the sign, and charge people $2 to take a picture with them, and maybe $10 to try them on. Maybe we can make it an interactive experience, and raise some money there for the whole NIL situation up there in Peoria. But thanks to Coach Wardle for coming on today. All right, one final piece of news before we get out of here today. Illinois State guard Bowden Schoonberg, who has just been snake bit from a health standpoint ever since he has gotten to Illinois State, spent his first 4 years at North Dakota State, came in as a grad transfer using his COVID year to come in to Illinois State, had a stress fracture in his foot last season, and they ended up making the decision not to rush him back, redshirt him, comes back again this year, and now he is hurt, unfortunately, again. Randy Reinhardt from the Panagraph there in Bloomington, Illinois, reporting, had a conversation with Ryan Peden, the head coach of the Redbirds, saying that Schoonberg has a knee ligament sprain. He is out currently, but the good news is that Coach Peden expects Schoonberg to be back and healthy and ready to go before practices begin, which is usually somewhere at this point, around September 20th or so. So another, 6-7 weeks, get him healthy and get him back, and hopefully the injury bug can disappear for good for Bowden Schoonberg, who again in his last 2 years there at North Dakota State, where he was awesome. 15 points a game as a junior, shot almost 40% from three, averaged 14 a game as a senior. And so expecting that backcourt ability and outside shooting to help the Redbirds this year. But the best ability, as we always say, is availability. And hopefully Bowden Schoonberg will be ready to roll here sooner than later for Illinois State. All right, that does it for this Wednesday edition from Mom's Basement here on Morning in the Valley. Don't forget, Friday morning, Northern Iowa women's head coach Tanya Warren will be with us. Thank you to Brian Wardle for being with us here this morning. If you haven't done so already, head on over to YouTube, search out Morning in the Valley, subscribe, like, comment, share, all that stuff, and help get this show out in front of more Missouri Valley basketball-loving folks. That'll do it for today. I think we're going to play miniature golf today. It's vacation time at Mom and Dad's. So Grandpa and the kids, and we're all going out to have some fun. We'll be back Friday morning. See you at 9 a.m. right here on Morning in the Valley.